The church is in Italy. The priest is Catholic. The liturgy still includes ancient Greek and Arbëreshë, and has for over 5 centuries. There are villages across 7 Italian regions where people are ethnically Albanian, worship in a rite that most Italians have never seen, and have been there since before Columbus sailed. The Arbereshe are ethnic Albanians whose ancestors fled the Balkans in waves between the 13th and 16th centuries, with the large exodus following Skanderbeg's death in 1468, and the Ottoman capture of his stronghold at Krušje 10 years later in 1478. Rather than assimilating, they founded their own villages. Today there are roughly 50 of them, spread across Calabria, Sicily, Basilicata, Molise, Puglia, Abruzzo, and Campania. They still speak Arbëreshë, a form of Albanian cut off from mainland Albania for half a millennium. Mutual intelligibility with modern Albanian exists, but it isn't always easy. Arbëreshë preserves older vocabulary and pronunciation that drifted apart from Standard Albanian over the 5 centuries of separation. Skanderbeg spent decades leading Albanian resistance against the Ottoman expansion, becoming one of the most mythologized figures in Balkan history. When that resistance finally collapsed, entire communities chose exile over Ottoman rule. And the Kingdom of Naples, along with feudal lords looking to resettle land emptied by war and plague, gave them land in the south. They didn't just bring a language, they brought the Byzantine rite with them. At a moment when the Catholic Church in the West and the Byzantine Christian tradition had already split apart for centuries. They're an Eastern Catholic community whose Byzantine tradition has remained central to their identity ever since. Organized today in its own eparchies, Lungro and Piana degli Albanesi, plus the Basilian monastery at Grotta Ferrata near Rome. But that survival wasn't automatic. For roughly 2 centuries, these communities had no bishops of their own, and answered to local Latin Rite bishops instead. And by most accounts, families and whole villages gradually drifted towards the Latin Rite in that stretch. It took until 1919, with the creation of the Eparchy of Lungro, and 1937 with Piana degli Albanesi, for Rome to build dedicated structures that actually secured the Byzantine Rite's survival. They didn't convert, but keeping their church alive took centuries of pressing for it, not a hand-me-down from Rome. Estimates vary because Italy doesn't track the exact number of speakers for its minority languages, but active Arbëreshë speakers are often put somewhere in the tens of thousands. With a much larger heritage population, people who identify as Arbëreshë whether or not they speak it, that most estimates put it several times that number. UNESCO classifies Arbëreshë as definitely endangered. The pattern is familiar. The post-war industrialization pulled young people to Milan, Turin, and Rome. Marriages outside of the community, children raised in Italian first, and some villages have lost a large share of their population since post-World War II. Isolation did a lot of the work. Mountain villages, rural, economically peripheral, arriving late to the modernization pressures that flattened dialects and regional languages elsewhere. But identity mattered just as much. Being Arbëreshë was never quite the same as being Albanian or being Italian. It was its own thing. And the Byzantine Rite gave that distinctiveness an institution to live inside. A church, a liturgical calendar, a priesthood, passed down structurally in the way that a spoken dialect rarely is. This is where it lands hardest for this channel. Mass immigration to the Americas in the late 1800s and early 1900s sharply reduced the population of some Arbëreshë villages, part of the same wave that emptied much of the Italian South more broadly, not something unique to just these communities. Many Arbëreshë families immigrated alongside other Italians from the South, and the Italo-Albanian Catholic Church today counts Argentina, Brazil, and the United States among its diaspora regions, though there isn't strong documentation of dedicated Arbëreshë communities created abroad the way there is in Italy. So the Arbëreshë story doesn't just parallel the Italian diaspora. For many families, it's layered inside it. Italian citizenship, Albanian ancestry, Byzantine faith, all in one line, carried wherever the broader emigration went. Cultural festivals are still growing. The Valle celebrations in some Calabrian villages now draw national media coverage. Local organizations continue promoting recognition and preservation, including a 2017 push for UNESCO Intangible Heritage status, though its current standing isn't something that I could confirm. Whether any of it is enough to reverse generational decline is genuinely uncertain. But 5 centuries in, a community that could have simply become Italian and disappeared into the majority is instead choosing deliberately not to. So coming back to the opening, a Byzantine liturgy in Italy, in Albanian and Greek, 500 years old. Italy isn't one thing. It's Greek in Calabria, it's Albanian in Sicily, it's Byzantine in a church that most Italians have never entered. Albanian, or Arbereshe, is just one of the dozen minority languages that exist in Italy. If you want to learn more about another one, check out this video here about the Sardinian language and its history. And if you like content like this, talking about regional facts, regional histories of different parts of Italy, the different languages spoken in the peninsula, and the diversity of the population, then Oriundi is for you. I look forward to seeing your comments and thoughts, and if you have any Arbereshe heritage, make sure you let me know in the comments below. Ciao for now, e alla prossima.